I'm in a big room now. I'm an economist and the director of economic vitality here with the city and county of Broomfield. Thank you for coming today. This session is recorded and is available or will be available roughly a day after this session. And we'll put it onto the Broomfield Voice website. The purpose of today, we did get a question or two that was sent in earlier, so we'll try to answer those. But it's to provide an overview of the economic conditions and the fiscal conditions and the way we think about that for those who may be running for city council, but also for the general public. So both are welcome. Both are able to ask questions. So please feel free to do so. We do ask that, and we forgot to do this on Monday. This is the third or the second of 3 sessions on topical areas like this. We forgot to ask everybody to hold your questions, if possible, until the end, because we actually have a microphone for you to be able to speak into, so that for those who are going to watch later through the recording, they'll be able to hear your question. We will try to phrase it, not rephrase it into what we want it to be. We'll just try to phrase it just to make sure everybody can hear. If there's any other concerns you have about being here in the sense of the level of the volume, if I'm speaking loud enough or if Brenda is when I turn it over, please let us know. Our intent is to share the information as clearly and concisely as possible. If there is jargon that either of us say, please ask about that jargon, even kind of raise your hand like, that sounds like jargon. Our goal is to actually provide this information in a consumable manner, not to necessarily make you experts, but to make sure that you're informed on the topics we're about to cover. I think those are the main things. So again, Monday, we did do a session on development. So that was both the community development process. Anna Burton-Zetti gave that, talked a little bit about where we're going, such things as the comprehensive plan and some sub-area plans. So if you want to watch that, please do. That was on Monday, the 11th. I'm looking at Brenda only because I kept thinking this was a different day. Today is Wednesday, the 13th. We'll be doing that economic and fiscal. And then on Friday, just for those who are keeping notes and just can't figure out anything else to do on a Friday afternoon, you're welcome to come back here again. That session will be on transportation and that mobility within our community, which is oftentimes a major concern. Just as to give you perhaps a reason why you may want to attend, is roughly 12%, 12 to 15% of our employees that work here in Broomfield drive from somewhere else. Generally drive from somewhere else, and about 85% of our residents work somewhere else besides within the city and county of Broomfield. So beyond just our own personal transportation and the way that we connect into the greater world, there's also that's part of the economy that oftentimes Sarah and I talk about. So she's always gives a very thorough presentation. So please think about coming to that on Friday or watching it live later, or watching it recorded later. So again, I think we'll just get going then. So my name is Jeff Roma. I'm an economist with the city and county of Broomfield. I'm also the director of economic vitality. And we're just going to give you a snapshot of what's going on with the economy. For those who decided to spend some quality time with us yesterday evening, this will be literally the same slides again. And hopefully our presentation and our key points will be pretty similar to what we said last night. We don't necessarily run off scripts always, and so it's not going to be word for word. So if you see any discrepancies, it should be more just in the way that we talk about it, not necessarily any differences in the information. Next slide, please. So here is the overview of what we're going to cover over the next, we hope a little less than an hour, so that we allow time for questions. And we're going to start with a quick snapshot of the economy, as I mentioned. Then Brenda will move into budget philosophy, which is really the foundation for how we develop that financial philosophy of how we develop the budget and we think about things. And as you can see, then she'll dig deeply into the 2024 budget and the revised 2023 budget. It's revised because obviously some things changed from when a budget was first formed. And then we'll conclude with a few next steps and your questions. Next slide, please. So the key snapshot here just gives you a sense of Broomfield. Many of you know this is a 60-year-old community since we were founded. We've been a city and county since a city and county. We're only the second one in Colorado. And we've been that since 2001 when we were formed. The election was in the late 90s. We are a landlocked community, and this will become relevant in various parts of what both I and Brenda cover. And that is we have 33.55 square miles. It's slightly different than 33.55 because we do round. At some point, we don't want to keep adding decimals, but it's a little less than 34 square miles. Those of you who do know and remember that from when we were formed, the city and county of Broomfield cannot de-annex or annex property. The only way that we can change the size and the boundaries of the city and county of Broomfield is it requires a vote of the state of Colorado voters, as well as all the counties we were formed from. And so therefore we are what we are, generally speaking. The only other city county is city and county of Denver, and they did annex one large piece of property roughly a little bit earlier than we did, than we were formed, and that became the Denver International Airport area, which was informally Adams County. So there's a whole set of agreements for that. And once again, that took the vote of both sets of the people in order to change that county boundary. But that's the last major one that I'm aware of where there was something significant change. So as you can see, we are what we are. The three key points that I pointed out to City Council from this presentation last night is that you may want to look at. One is our current population is roughly 76,400. When we were formed, we were just under 40,000. So as you can see, we've nearly doubled over the last 20 years. Our total employment right now is 42,800. When I say that, that's the number of people working for the firms that are located here in Broomfield. They may not necessarily come in every day, but they're associated with those businesses. And as you can also see, Broomfield continues to grow faster on the employment side than the state of Colorado, and has for a number of years, which is also true on the population side. And we'll talk a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. The third piece of data is over on that left side bottom. So values right now are running around just under 650,000 according to Zillow. They are one source of record. We also look at the Colorado real estate and the Denver Metro real estate folks, and all those numbers are roughly in line. And there has been a slight reduction in the average household value within the city and county of Broomfield, according to those sources, that it's fallen a little more than 4%. That changes obviously all the time. But nevertheless, you can see that there's been a stabilization in the housing prices, and a slight fall, but a stabilization over the last year after roughly a 3 to 4 year run up in housing price values. Next slide, please. The snapshot of the economy on this particular slide, the key thing here is, as I mentioned, I do work with a number of colleagues in the economic vitality. That department oversees housing activity as well as business development activity and the three catalytic developments. We work very closely with Anna in planning and her team, Brenda and her team in finance, the city manager's office, and many other people. So these accomplishments truly are shared, and I really do mean that. But two that I just wanted to point out, just because it helps talk about the economy. One is the third bullet point on the left, and that is related to how we interact with our larger firms, those that many people notice with either their lit up sign on the side of their building, or you're just aware of them from a number of years. So Ball Aerospace, of course, is one of those companies that has grown up here in this part of the metropolitan area, literally starting with a couple of the Ball